didn't even get time to start today before we got our first super chat. Thank you very much, as always, Wayne King, one of our great supporters on the channel. Hi, Greg, John and Lloyd. Well, John is not here at the moment today. He's over in the Northern Territory. He heard that New South Wales was having some COVID problems and tried to get away beforehand, I think. But yeah, he's over there for a little bit of work. So as a result, we've got Lloyd in the big chair.
Hello.
Hey, Lloyd, how you doing? What's happening in your world? Oh, no.
Yeah, you know, we're doing good. We're doing good. This is Cheeky, by the way. This is, you know, he thought what we had when he first logged in here. He thought it was a talking ostrich egg. I had to explain to him it was Greg. Sorry, Greg. He has no manners.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, Cheeky. Well, good to see Cheeky and good to see Lloyd there as well. Before we get into the regular news today, I've got a late-breaking news story that someone sent in on our Discord channel last night. So we've got a video for that one. Let's go and play that one right now. So this is actually a drone light show. There's nothing revolutionary about that. Everyone has seen drone light shows before. But check this out. This is particularly interesting. Keep watching carefully and see if you can count. You'll know what I mean when I say you can count in a couple of moments. Now, all of those little falling things are not falling stars. They're actually drones that are falling out of the air. This is something that was shot in China. It was reported on Drone DJ, so do go to their website and check it out and have a read. But essentially, Kanzahi is the name of the person who reported this to Drone DJ, and it's been on Twitter. It was at Shanghai on June 14. Some of the information is a little bit unclear because they're translating it rather than getting the info directly in English. But essentially, yes, it was reported that there were some people injured and all of these drones simultaneously falling out of the sky.
Sort of like skydiving drones, you know. Just...
Yeah, they're all skydiving at the same time. You know, it's interesting. They all seem to skydive at the same time. And the tech side of things, the question is, what's the cause of that? If you think about this logically, and I don't know the tech 100% well enough about the... Sorry?
You said think about it logically. I said that counts me out.
Oh, okay. The tech involved in this, at the end of the day, a traditional drone that you and I fly... It's a point-to-point link. You've got a controller talking to your remote device. But I don't know. I haven't explored the technology involved in the light shows, but I'm guessing it would be a broadcast medium instead, where all of the command and control and programming and so on would probably be a broadcast network. But I'm thinking, what would make simultaneously all of those drones fall out of the sky at the same time? What do you think?
Well, I thought it might be a hack or something first, but my first thought actually was like some sort of pulse, you know, EM pulse or something, but I thought, well, maybe they did a hack. It's hard telling.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, if it is a hack, it doesn't make sense because to get what might have been only about, let's say, 5% of their drones falling out of the sky, if that, why wouldn't it have been all of them? Why was it only a small percentage?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a hack. But anyway, look, it's an interesting story and one that we'll definitely have to keep an eye on. But now let's get into one other thing. You had something else you were going to say about that, I think?
Oh, well, you know, it reminded me of, you know, back when I was in the service and my skydiving instructor, you would ask, he'd always take time to answer questions. And even if they were stupid ones, and one of the guys asked, he says, listen, he says, what happens if my main chute fails and in my reserve chute fails? He says, how long do I have to live? Very straight faced, he looks and he says, the rest of your life. Okay.
Okay. And
it wasn't a
now
great story.
And now I'm pressing the button to have the news come up on the screen and nothing happened. If my producer could go into shot A1, the top left shot, and on the far right tab with the 3 dots in the circle, try and click reconnect and see what happens. There we go. Let's try that one more time. Woohoo! Technology's great when it works. Working. Yes. As always, our news is brought to you by AirData UAV. Is your drone healthy or is it about to surprise you on your next flight? Don't wait to find out. Discover information under the hood and review the early signs of problems before you take off again. Use the discount code OzByDrone20 to get a 20% discount. There is a link in the description. And one other thing I do want to say before we do our first news story, all of our news is available in Dronebook. If you get a moment, Grumpy, in a short while, can you put the Dronebook link up, the URL, in the chat? That'd be helpful as well.
Yeah. I'll do it with the many other things I got going on here. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
You're right on that.
Multitasking. So our first one, we're going to have a look at some abandoned eggs. And as summer begins in the US and people are spending more time outdoors, there's a warning going out to people visiting nature reserves. No drones, no dogs, no bicycles. The warning comes after several incidents, including one where a drone crash caused birds at the Bolsa Chica Conservatory to abandon about 1,500 eggs.
During the pandemic, many Americans traded traditional vacations for camping or spending time in nature.
Well, the staff at these parks and conservancies are happy to see people appreciating nature. In some cases, the activity is doing more harm than good.
News 8's Evan Narani tells us about the impact birds are seeing at a nearby conservancy.
As summer takes shape and the state loosens restrictions, it's no surprise that people across California are enjoying the outdoors in full effect. But at Bolsa Chica Conservancy in Huntington Beach, it's causing problems for wildlife.
We understand they want to go there to take pictures and appreciate the great outdoors and see nature and wildlife, etc. But they need to follow the rules so that those fabulous features of Bolsa Chica can be protected.
The issue on hand, drones. More specifically, how private drones have caused birds that call Bolsa Chica Conservancy home to abandon some 1,500 eggs after drones crashed nearby.
Not just that a drone crashed, or 2 of them, it's that if a drone is flying back and forth, hovering low, some of them make a lot of noise. They do spook the birds. They startle the birds. They're actually seen as predators. And so birds that are sitting on eggs, hoping to hatch those eggs, can be intimidated or threatened, and they leave because it's for their own safety. They think they need to leave.
At nature conservancies across the state, while people are welcome
so I'm going to let people have a look at that story in its full form by themselves later on. But, you know, I'm a little bit confused because the story as it starts says drone crash forces birds to abandon 1,500 eggs. I don't kind of buy that one. I don't think the crash necessarily caused it, but definitely flying over them and causing that noise, if they're a fragile kind of ecosystem, not the right thing to do. So to all of our viewers, you're all responsible flyers. You don't need to go and fly in fragile areas like that.
Yeah. And this is no laughing matter, and so I don't want to yoke about that. And remember, eagles may soar, but monkeys never get sucked into jet engines.
Okay, let's move on. Our next story today. John, where are you?
You get what you pay for at this show.
John, all is forgiven. I've got to have you come back soon. Our next story over here. So this one is an undersea drone, and we've seen countless options, obviously, for aspiring expert drone pilots to get maximum enjoyment and video footage from their excursions in the skies. But the choice is far more limited for people who prefer getting away from it all beneath the waves. Automated marine drone iBubble. Yes, we had to have something start with the letter I. iBubble is one of those assuring optimal film documentation for all kinds of undersea divers. So basically this thing follows you around underwater.
Yeah, just when you thought it was safe to go back in the ocean.
Okay, so it's not Jaws, but I think it's a cool idea, and certainly one of the challenges with underwater vehicles in the past has been radio control because of the issues with RF underwater. But having this thing use AI to communicate with you, and I assume it would have some sort of return to home kind of capability if it lost you. I'm making a guess there. We've probably got to have a little bit more research to have a look at it, but it seems like a good idea overall.
Just what we need. Artificial intelligent sharks.
Yeah, okay. Perhaps not. Our next one, we've got a royal drone, and this story is Prince William. He just posted a very cryptic video on the Kensington Palace Instagram page featuring himself looking out into the distance as he controls a drone. So it's a royal drone. Let's play that again. It's only a very short clip. And it's in the distance there. I think it's an Inspire. Or it looks like it.
Oh, look. It's Willie in his toy.
Okay. Look, I think, I don't know why it is that he's doing that, but people are certainly using drones to promote intrigue about what it is their message is, and certainly there'll be something, I think, following in the days and weeks to come.
Why couldn't he have flown like a Mavic Mini? No, he has to show us all up and get a friggin' Inspire just because he's got more money than the rest of us.
Yeah, it is an expensive piece of equipment. Speaking of expensive, our next one is the Sony S1 AirPeak. Sony has now fully unveiled the AirPeak S1 drone that it was first launched at CES 2021 in February for an announcement, drone capabilities and features, and revealing a $9,000 price tag for the gimbal and cameraless, can I say that again, cameraless drone, all consolidating the idea that the drone is heading straight into the professional video market. Definitely a nice piece of equipment. Definitely a nice piece of price tag. I mean, we've got the landing gear that's moving out of the way there. We've seen that before. We've seen the wind tunnel testing that they're doing before, so definitely able to stand up to the wind, but you've got to add a camera to that $9,000 price tag.
Yeah, and you notice that car was driving slow. We see the same thing done with FPV pilots doing it in real time instead of,
Yeah, I mean, certainly that's a stabilized
$9,000.
It's a stabilized cinematic drone. It's a different market to FPV, and that's fair enough. We've got a second video. Let's just quickly cut to that now. I mean, it's a large amount of money, and here's what I'd say. This is only my opinion. I'd be curious to hear our viewers, but for those that have flown an Inspire, was it yours or was it borrowed? And if you have your own Inspire, do you still have it? Do you still fly it regularly? Is it your workhorse drone? in the video production industry, certainly there are going to be categories where you need to have second control, like on the Inspire, so you can do that cinematic video independently of flight path. Very expensive toy, but I'd be curious to hear what our viewers' thoughts are on that particular piece of equipment. Let's leave that one there as well. We've got one more quick story before we get into our guest. And also, just a reminder, Lloyd, if you can post that link to Rendezvous one more time. So John's away, Lloyd's filling in, but we're inviting our guests to come in and be a substitute co-host for one or two stories. Come in, say hello, make it interesting, mix it up a little bit today. That'd be cool.
The monkey's not working?
The monkey's not working? No.
No, the monkey's not working for you? No, I see how that is.
John, all is forgiven. So we saw one light show at the very beginning of this the show today. You've seen drone light shows before, and some of them are truly impressive, with a large number of drones morphing into 3D shapes in the sky. Even better when they don't fall out of the sky, but that's beside the point. They're pretty amazing. But now there's a new type of drone vying to create spectacles in the night sky a slightly different way. So if you have a look at that there, we've got the USA, and certainly the drones go and draw those shapes in the sky. You draw the shape that you want to draw on the screen, and then the next thing you know, the drone's going to go and fly that flight path. They're calling them rocket drones, I think, because they're trying to very rapidly move along those flight paths. You could probably still see it with the naked eye, but it certainly works a lot better with a camera and a long exposure shot to have a look at that. But really cool idea.
All this technology just to do finger painting by drone? Really?
Yeah, well, it's a bit of fun. It's a lot of fun. I think that it's a good idea. It's different. We can't have the same thing all the time. But speaking of something different, it's time for us to welcome our guest, Ravi, who's joining us today from India. Welcome, Ravi. Are you there? Can you hear?
Yeah. Hello, friends.
Hello, Ravi, and welcome. I first came across your YouTube channel a few weeks ago. It came up in my news feed of things related to Raspberry Pi, and our regulars will know that I'm a Raspberry Pi fan. But let's start at the beginning. What came first, the Raspberry Pi or your interest in drones? Tell me about your tech background.
So my interest in drone comes first. Actually, I am an electronics engineer by education, and I have a hobby of aero modeling and drones. So I like to build RC airplanes, drones. I was an educator up to last year, and I am heading a aero modeling club at my university.
Okay.
So I have lots of exposure on the RC plane and drones.
Okay, and
so
which university?
Comes last. Yeah.
Which university do you go to?
Marwadi University. It's in Gujarat, India.
Okay. And when did you start mixing the compute and the aero modeling stuff, or has that always been kind of, you've always mixed those two elements? How did that come together?
Yeah. In fact, my father is also a radio engineer, and electronics is in my blood. So from my childhood, I have seen my father working on a valve-based radio and all the stuff, and it built the interest of electronics in me. And I have also seen RC airplane and very interested in designing and making RC airplane. but the cost in terms of entry barrier stopped me for 8 to 10 years. But once I have a job, I have started to build my own drones and planes from the salary I am getting to satisfy my hobby.
Okay. Sounds interesting. Now, what we're going to do now, we've got a video that originally caught my attention. We're going to play that and have a look at the start of that. We might pause it halfway. Let's just have a look at a little bit for now. Okay, so maybe you can talk us through a little bit of this. What are we doing?
This is the initial prototype I made using this prototype board for a quadcopter. Once I got the successful, I have made this beautiful PCB which will support multiple flying configurations.
Mm-hmm.
So currently on the fleet, I have this tricopter, quadcopter, hexcopter.
You've got multicopters.
And this very low cost foam glider is also now become RC with this Raspberry Pi Pico flight controller.
Okay, so you say the word Raspberry Pi Pico flight controller. So it's the flight control software is what?
Actually, rather than making the things complex, because my target is to design something for the STEM or STEAM-based education, I have made the firmware very much modular. And I have used a very minimal amount of complex mathematics, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and the most complex thing I have used in the mathematics is trigonometry function, sine, cos, and tan. Nothing else more than this. So using this simple mathematics, I tried to build the firmware, and the firmware is very successful in terms of that. So it's having a modularity. So just by changing a few lines in the firmware, kids can design various kind of a flying platform. So the board is supporting 6 DC motor and 4 servo motor. So I think it's enough for any kind of flying platform or making a ground vehicle from the scratch.
But I just wanted to restate what I said a moment ago. The firmware, we're not using any ArduPilot stuff mixed in there. This is your firmware beginning to end.
Yeah. It's made from the scratch by just considering kids who is the end user of this platform. And
that is amazing.
Anyone having,
We've seen other people doing Raspberry Pi control of, Ardu controllers before and all sorts of other things like that. But actually doing it beginning to end on the Pi is really cool.
Yeah.
Where do you think this is going next? Do you think there's more applications outside of STEM, which you said was your initial target, or have people started looking at your code?
The applications are outside of STEM also, but currently the firmware is having 6 DOF IMU, barometer support for the altitude stabilization, and optical flow sensor support for the indoor position lock. So currently this is the support I have on the.
You've got optical flow support as well.
Yeah, currently I completed the optical flow sensor support for the indoor situation.
That is really cool. You're definitely going to have a look back at one of our previous videos. Tim French is an Australian who gets into some drone building, and he's currently working on some drone delivery solutions. I think some of your software together with his hardware would be a really good pair together. Yeah. Aside from the Raspberry Pi project, what else have you recently been doing with regard to drones, and what's coming up around the corner?
Just recently, I have completed the project sponsored by Espressif. In that also, I have made a similar STEM platform for the RC drone, The project is entirely based on ESP32 SoC. The firmware is also made from the scratch.
Pause right there. I know the answer to the question, but explain to our viewers what those acronyms mean.
Which?
The ESC32 SoC. Too many letters for some people. What's the simple version of what that means?
ESP32 SoC is a system on chip which is having 10-SALIC microprocessor core and Bluetooth and Wi-Fi.
You've got a train
on
there.
The same chip.
You've got a pretty loud train there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Okay, no more trains. So it's a system on chip. It's kind of another version of a Raspberry Pi, but just a different hardware with some different capabilities, yeah?
Yeah.
You've got some show and tell there?
Yeah, so, and now very recently, I am making this ESP8266 based flight controller for small planes. It's targeted for plane, not for drone. It supports 2 DC motor and 2 servo motor. So it's something like power up a paper airplane. Maybe you came across. So
Have you seen,
it can be just.
Have you seen those paper plane? Have you seen those paper plane things that people have been making to clip on? It's like you're doing a homebrew version of that.
Yeah, but it's based on a Wi-Fi, so it's getting 100 to 150 meter line of sight range, and it's very lightweight. It's weight around 3 grams only. So
3 grams.
It supports a paper airplane as well as Depron plane also, made from this 3mm Depron seat.
Okay. Look, there's lots of possibilities and opportunities for our viewers to do some experimentation. Has anyone got any questions in the chat for Ravi? Please put them in. Let's have a look. Is there anything there at the moment? No, but if someone does put it in, let me know, and we'll certainly throw that up in the chat. Ravi, while we've got another co-host coming in, which we'll add in after we finish chatting with you. We'll add that. Is that Trevor? Yeah, we'll add Trevor in after we get through with yourself. So stand by, Trevor. In the meantime, Grumps, are you still around? No, he's gone for it. Grumpy, my co-host. He's gone for a nana nap. Okay. I was going to go and do a, let me press this button here and then, where is it? That one right there. Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to play Stump the Yank.
Or in this case, it's time to play Stump the Monk, which is a title that Ravi picked instead of Stump the Yank. We're going to stump Ravi, but the only problem is we need a Grump to be our stump master. Grumpy, are you there? Hello, Grumpy.
I'm lucky.
Where's Grumpy? Put him on screen. Show everyone what we're seeing at the moment. This is what Grumpy has left us with. You know, Trevor, I've got you in the background there to fill in for Grumps in a minute. Have you got a Aussie trivia question that we could ask of Ravi in the absence of Grumps at the moment? Let's put Trevor up on screen. Oh. Whew. Grumpy, I'm trying to do stump the monk and you've gone away.
No, I was hearing everything, but I couldn't do anything.
You were having a potty break.
No, I was taking care of my wife.
Okay, so let's try that again.
Apologies.
Okay, pretend we're starting again. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to play Stump the Monk.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Let's see, Ravi, which I know I'm saying that wrong, but that's all right. What is Where is it? What is a billabong? Is it something that you smoke funny tobacco in? Is it a dried pond or a pond in a dried riverbed? Or is it one of Australia's famous beers?
Just a random. Just a random
You pick
answer.
one of those three. Yeah, that's an
Sorry.
Australian term. Is it something you smoke? You know,
You're
roll
picking
bong?
number 3?
Yeah.
You're picking number 3. What was number 3? Oh, famous beer. Yeah, it's always number 3, right? No, actually, it is a pond in a dried riverbed.
No idea.
They have funny sayings in Australia. They don't speak English like the rest of us.
Yeah, it is a pond
Okay.
in a dry riverbed,
One more.
absolutely. But just out of interest, it's a couple more things that other people may not have heard. A billabong is also a brand of swimwear. There's one you didn't know, or you may have known.
Budgie smugglers.
Yeah. So it's a brand of swimwear, and it's also a brand of ice cream popsicle.
Uh-huh.
There you go. Let's go to your next one. What do you got for us, Grumps?
Well, sticking, because it's alphabetical and it's right down the line, what is a bludger? Is that something is that an Australian famous beer? Or is it something they used to hit you over the head with when they're robbing you, especially in New South Wales? Or someone who's lazy and generally relies on others?
Well, please don't use tea as a beer, because I am living in dry state and it makes me thirsty. I think answer is 2, because last time it was 2. There is no other reason.
This time it was 3. Somebody who's lazy.
Yeah. Okay. Look, Ravi, thanks for being a good sport. I enjoy sharing a little bit of Aussie trivia, and it's even more fun seeing Grumps try and pick it up when he's on the screen instead of running around. But anyway, it's been fun. Now, we're going to say thanks and goodbye to our guest, Ravi. Do me a favour, stick around, stay in the chat, have a chat to our people, answer some questions. Talk about, what kind of things are they building? Maybe they'll share some things with you, or vice versa. Who knows? We'll see what happens. In the meantime, we're going to bring in our guest co-host, and we've got Trevor. G'day, Trev.
Good morning.
G'day, how you doing? And I want to say thank you before we do anything else. Trevor does a lot for the show behind the scenes. He helps with pulling the titles together. You know, all of these things. What's the next one? The next one is a little bit later today. We're going to have this pop up on the screen. Elephants on the Move is a title of a story, and he goes and has a look through the stories that we're planning on sharing and does the titles. It's just one little thing that I don't have to do that makes it a little bit easier. So thank you for that. Appreciate it.
That's always welcome. I enjoy doing it.
Yeah. Do you want to briefly tell our viewers where you are and what you fly and a couple of other things before we move on to the next story?
Well, I'm actually in Port Lincoln, South Australia, which for those people that don't live in Australia is approximately 200 kilometres west of Adelaide. And I actually fly a Maverick Air 2.
What? You fly what?
A Mavic Air 2. Yes, I know. My tongue slipped. And I also do that through a smart controller. So therefore, that's how I'm able to bring you the really nice flying and able to share my flying with you on your global fly-ins. And I actually bring that to you by putting the smart controller into OBS. So it's one way for many other people to actually have a try getting into on the global fly-ins. So, and I encourage people to give it a try.
Speaking of fly-ins and so forth, and especially as we've got Ravi here at the moment today, I want to share a little bit of a show and tell, and I hope I've got everything here still. Okay, let's try this. Circuit board number 1, number 2, and they're still in their nice little anti-static bags. These are some of the components relating to the RF amplifier circuit that comes from NoLimitDrones. So I've managed to get my hands on one of them, but I just look in the bag and I thought there was another board. Oh no, it's down there. Let's get the other bits out. Lots of bits in this bag. Most of it is just copper wire though. So a nice big bunch of copper wire there, some with antenna connections on it. What else have we got? Show and tell time. Another little small board over there, little switch to mount on the bird, and another part I don't even know yet what it is, but I'll find all of these things out. So do me a favor, Lloyd, can you put the NoLimitDrones link to this product in the chat?
Sure.
And I tell you what, if you can as well, you're running vMix there today, Lloyd?
Yes.
Can you go to that website and bring it up on your screen and send it full screen down the Rendezvous connection? Is that something that you could do?
Yeah, give me a second here.
And pardon me as I just put all the bits back into the bag before I lose anything, because otherwise I'll be in trouble.
And that's for the Phantom 4, isn't it?
So this board is available for any drone that's on 2.4 or 5.8. It's able to give you a nice little signal boost. So do go and check that out. Hopefully, Lloyd, there we go. Let's switch to Lloyd's camera. There's the info about that product, and you can see the individual components in the screenshot there. The good news is we've actually got Coldflake from NoLimitDrones coming in as our guest next week, so we'll have a chat to him and talk about it. That'll be cool. Okay, enough for show and tell for now. That only came in yesterday late, so I'll have a play with that in the near future. But let's go to our next story, which is this one. Jay Christensen, the talented drone pilot and former Duluthian, I don't know what a Duluthian is, but anyway, the former Duluthian who captured the amazing Bryant Lake Bowl fly-through a couple of months ago, this time sent his camera spinning through the halls, rooms and grounds at Glensheen Mansion. Let's have a look. Now, the audio on this one, if I remember correctly, there we go.
Madam.
Thank you.
Welcome to Glensheen Mansion. This 39-room mansion is arguably the most affluent home in Minnesota. Up to 30 staff members work at Glensheen with respectable pay and living conditions. Here we find Clara Congdon dining in the breakfast room. Clara is a loving mother to 7 children and encourages the family trait of generosity and a lifelong commitment to the community, just as her husband.
Now, I'm not going to play the entire video because I want people to go to the channel, the original channel, and have a look at this. It's a really, really cool video. But Glensheen is the name of the mansion. I'll just see if I've got any more info on that one.
Greg?
Yeah?
Just to correct your Aussie English, is Duluthian. He's from Duluth, Minnesota. Like a Chicagoan is from Chicago, Illinois, you know, Duluthian.
Okay.
And
I don't know
somebody
what
from
Duluth
New South
is.
Wales is somebody from South Wales is a New South Welshman.
Okay. Well, we'll leave
Got
that
it?
one there.
Okay.
I do want to encourage viewers, go to the link in the description for our show today. Go and check that out and have a watch of the entire video. It is really good. What do you think of that one? Do you like these fly-throughs, Trevor?
Excellent job. Kind of the way they actually go ahead and get the timing just right, because you saw there people moving around. The audio is excellent. How they're able to edit that in. Some of these fly-throughs with an FPV drone, and remembering it's an FPV drone, so it's not stabilized in any way. So it takes a lot of skill to actually go ahead and get that all in one shot, and also go ahead and get the audio synchronized just right. Be interested to see how much rehearsal they actually did to get that one in one take.
Yeah, and absolutely. And one other thing I've been thinking about, especially in the context of the RF amplifier that I was showing a short while ago. For example, we saw the one recently where they were flying through the stadium, the one that was mentioned in the intro to that article. That's a really large area to be flying through. I wonder if they've actually got pre-cabled wiring through the stadium that's connected to their transmitter, and they're doing external antennas and switching between them or something like that as a method of extending the range. It'd be interesting to find out if they do that. But let's move on to our next story now. The next one is a search and rescue drone. And this drone was used recently, developed optical algorithm combined with thermal imaging and machine learning to locate people in dense forests. We've all seen previously, you know, your thermal cameras as a way of going and finding people. By itself, you can see things that are hot, but they're now combining the two images together, doing some AI and able to actually positively match and identify people using their algorithm. So another good use of technology with drones. Okay, here's the heat signatures, and there they are, they're positively matched. And have you got some witty conversation for me there in response to that, Trevor?
Well, the Maverick the Enterprise edition of the DJI product actually does quite a good job with combining the two images together. They've probably taken it one step further by having a little bit more AI built in. But yeah, it's a very good product. And for search and rescue, they're becoming more and more common now. If there's a search to actually go ahead and use a drone, very good use for the technology.
Yeah, I'm just going to turn the volume down on Ravi because we got a bit of background noise there. But let's go to our next story. There we go. The next one. China's famous herd of wandering elephants is showing a trend of returning south. We now have aerial footage that supports a preliminary returning trend. Meanwhile, another drone video released by Chinese authorities shows an adorable baby elephants engaging in Lloyd. Okay, enough. We've got the idea.
It wouldn't shut off.
We now have new aerial footage that supports a preliminary returning friend. Meanwhile, another drone video released by Chinese authorities shows an adorable baby elephants engaging in a playful wrestling match with a task force of now 360 personnel, 76 cars and 9 drones keeping tabs on their progress around the clock. The aerial footage of these animals is keeping viewers hooked. We've got a second video as well. We'll put that one up. Now, I'm just going to cut the audio for that. I don't know why that was still there because I know that I didn't have rights to that audio. Maybe I muted the wrong one. But there we go. So again, some more elephants going through and having some fun. Do go and check out the videos in their full context. Click the links in the description and you can have a look at the full videos, but we'll leave that one there for now and move on to our next story. And thank you for that wonderful sound effect, Lloyd.
It was yours. If it was that long, it's your fault.
Yeah, okay. Some solid engineering ideas are relatively simple. Putting a tether on a drone can destabilize it. UC engineers have developed a semi-autonomous navigation system that lets the drone stabilize itself while in the air. Their new nav system uses artificial intelligence, yet again AI, based on fuzzy logic that makes decisions based on degrees of truth, not binary true-false decisions. Their system is considered more robust because no precise inputs are required. And for some reason that word tethered is stuck there. So let's kill that off the screen. So we've got no audio with this one, or have we? There we go.
Moving forward. Moving back.
So traditionally we've seen tethered drones with a rope underneath that or a power cable or something like that, but they're simulating that using that broomstick there to represent the individual different forces. Pretty cool idea.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And Lloyd?
Yes.
You did have something.
I know, you're expecting something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You forgot.
Next thing you know, no, I hadn't got there. I'm just sitting here minding my own business now. Anyways, next thing you know, they're going to have the Harry Potter team putting AI on the broomsticks for Quidditch.
You know, you prepare the show and you and then he just, okay.
But you didn't tell me I was still going to be doing the jokes. You brought in Trevor here is a great co-host. He's serious, unlike me.
Okay. Let's go to our last one of the day. And this one is interesting. This is an Australian story. Copter Pack. Personal flight is a fascinating concept. It has dominated comic books and pop culture for decades. And to replicate that flying feeling, people across the world have resorted to anything from skydiving and paragliding to, more recently, wingsurfing. Now, the spotlight is on jetpacks and manned drones like Copter Pack. A new video released recently shows an unnamed pilot don what appears to be a blend of an all-electric jetpack and a multi-rotor drone. The system is called Copter Pack, created by an Australian company of the same name. Now, what makes this interesting is the location. So if you have a look at this here now, in the past we've talked about the Sutherland Shire Council and their no drone signs, and this is flown from that very beach where they've erected these signs, no drones allowed. I guess they've got an exception for manned drone bicopters or something like that. But nonetheless, look, it's a really cool video. People have been debating, is it fake, is it real? And they're, certainly if you've had a look at XJet's channel, he's justifying it and saying it's fake because it's of the aspect ratio. They've cut off the top and the bottom and that you could be hiding stuff in there. I can firmly say I know this area, and the shadow and the other material that's happening there, it looks 100% real to me. But the question is,
real to me too.
Yeah, the question is, why is Sutherland Council not doing anything about that? But they're banning people trying to fly a poor little quadrotor. And Mike B says he is not a drone. Yes, he's not. what is the definition of a drone? And the interesting thing is they've actually put a circle and a slash through a picture of a quad. Maybe it's because it's only got two fans instead of 4. We've just got to all fly bicopters from now on.
Yeah, there's one. That's possible.
Yeah. So, Trevor, what else is happening in your world? What else do you do when you're not helping create the titles for the show?
Well, when I'm not creating titles for the show, I actually do a normal job, which I actually work 4 days a week, doing works on transmitter sites and stuff like that, and that keeps me busy most of the time. And I do, so I work the 4 days a week, and was just lucky that I had the Friday off to go ahead and watch somebody else's show, and also watch to actually help you out with the titles and a few other bits and pieces. So I get a long weekend every weekend.
That works well. And look, I just want to say thank you again for helping out with that every week. It does make my life a little bit easier. But right now we've reached the end of our regular show. Now, it's interesting to note that we've finished about 9 minutes earlier than normal. Obviously, John Morrison talks too much, but other than that...
No, I wouldn't say that.
We love John. We love John.
Yes, we love him.
Okay. Have you got any last thoughts or topics for our viewers today? Yourself, Trevor, and then we'll go over to Ravi and...
No, nothing that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, okay. Let's go over to Ravi, and I'll just bring his microphone back up. There you go, Ravi. Any other last thoughts for yourself? People, where can they check you out? I've got a link to your YouTube channel that we've put in the chat room. Is there any other place where people can get a hold of you?
I am regularly updating my project information on Twitter. My handle is Ravi a Geek, Ravi_A_geek.
Okay, Ravi a Geek. Can you post that in the chat room as well? And Lloyd, maybe if you can try and put that title up on the screen when it comes in. What's the next project for you, do you think, Ravi?
Currently, I am working on a project to creating a gaming environment where multiple kids having drones, and there are certain small circuits which work as points on the ground as a beacon. So when the drone pass through this beacon, based on a color and different things, the gaming environment is created, and in every mobile application, the points collected and all this thing is getting changed. So rather than using one drone, one pilot, if the scenario is multiple drones and multiple pilots, all they are flying in a same network, then this is more fun. So recently also I'm working on this same project.
Yeah, who can get there first? Sounds like fun, and a project that I'm trying to get started in the background. I've been approaching someone at our local golf course recently with the idea of drone golf. John and I have spoken about it before, but maybe the idea of dropping golf balls and seeing who can land them closest to the hole might be an interesting one to try out. Anyway, thanks, Ravi, for being with us today. Lloyd, last thoughts and comments from you?
Turn on my mic. There we go.
That helps.
Yeah, it does. Well, this is a question for you, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'll ask Trevor because he's in the background there. Trevor, what do you get when you cross a kangaroo with a sheep?
Okay, what do you get when you cross a kangaroo with a sheep?
A woolly jumper. Get it? A woolly jumper?
Okay.
That's sad. Yeah.
Okay.
You've been having art write your jokes for you again, haven't you?
No, I steal those from other people too.
Okay.
Oh, right.
And just a reminder, moving on from that, send videos to upload@gregkuhnert.com if you want to send us a video. if you would like to follow us on social media, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, all of those kind of things, we're there. We're also on DLive and a couple of other platforms. And if there's anything physical you'd like to send, there is an address to send it to as well. One more thing just out of interest before we go, another little show and tell. Here's another little fun project I'm playing with at the moment. This little beastie is for my machine that does funny sound effects and so on. It's got a hard drive in at the moment, so we've got an IDE interface on the side there and an SD card over on the other side to replace a aging hard drive. Certainly it'll make the machine a little bit faster and snappier in loading the sounds. But yeah, a fun project. One thing I've got to work out though is how to mount it so that the SD card will be exposed on the external case. I'm maybe looking for an external extension cord for the SD card and a way to do that maybe. So those are just some of the interesting projects I thought I'd share with you. Anyway, that's all for today. It's been fun. We've had a little bit of a circuit board week where I've had some show and tell, and we've had Ravi talking about his stuff. It's been great fun. Thanks for being with us, Ravi. Thanks for being with us, Trevor. Thanks as always, Lloyd. It's been fun. Thanks for watching.
Anytime.
See you next week, and bye-bye for now.